As the only freshman to finish in the top 10 at the CCIW Championships, North Central Cardinal Lauren Hooks paced her team in this conference's field of 8 and has this week's game-changing performance. In her first CCIW Championship and 5th college competition, Hooks made a good first impression. The Decatur native worked her way through the 6K race, running to a time of 24:03 and a 4th place finish. Hooks was named as an all-conference selection and tabbed the CCIW Freshman Runner of the Year. The men didn't do too bad themselves at the CCIW Championships, winning their 36th straight title. The team placed 9 of their runners in the top 10 and were led by senior Sean Carlson. Carlson and head coach Carius join us today to talk about their latest victory and the 2009 season. Guys, thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having us.
Coach, pretty remarkable streak here, 36 straight conference championship titles. Kind of looking at that, is there one constant from maybe, the first of this streak to where we are today at the 36 that really kind of exemplifies North Central cross country?
That's an excellent question that's asked of me, often. And again, I always tell the story that Frank Grammarosa and I were in Iowa several years ago and saw on the side of a Hy-V truck lots of little differences, and that's the way I really define it. I don't know that there's any one factor that really has been the factor that has brought us these victories, but I think it's a lot of little differences that add up together that collectively form a culture of discipline that I think really is a foundation from which we really build the program.
Great. Kind of looking at the team, it's a full squad. You have nearly 45 runners consisting of freshmen all the way through seniors. I even believe Nate Hurd's a 5th-year senior.
Yes.
The top tier teams, you have kind of 2 split squads. You have this top tier group, and then you have another second group who runs similar to this top tier group essentially. That top tier group has finished first in every contest that they've participated in. I think the team has had first place victories in 7 out of the 8 contests. Can you kind of just talk about the evolution of the team from mid-August, late August to where we are today?
I think evolution is the key word. We have evolution of our team really from the freshman year on, bringing them in, trying to teach them the values, the lessons that are going to help them for their 4 years, but certainly to get through the season, and that just accumulates from year to year, so that when it's their time, they feel the confidence and they have the experience to really be able to step in.
Right. Now, 2 big races that you had early on in the year were the Illinois Intercollegiates. A couple weeks later, it was the Notre Dame Invitational. You took first at both of those events. Looking at those events, some Division I schools there, 2 Division III as well, NAI, a lot of great runners there in general. Is there some significance with running those races early in the season that maybe plays a factor down the stretch for the CCIW Championships and for that matter the regionals and nationals?
There's nothing that builds confidence like performance. Nothing builds confidence like experience. Nothing builds confidence like positive reinforcement from being in meets like that and being successful. And that's objective feedback for the athletes that they are making that progress, right, and yet they're only steps along the way towards the goal that we have, and that's to be at our very, very best on November 21st.
Certainly. Now looking at the CCIW Championships that took place on Halloween, the team had, again, 9 runners finish in the top 10. It seems like this team has depth. When I spoke to Augustana's Chris Zook, the first non-Cardinal to finish, he finished in 10th. I asked him about North Central's team dynamic and what that really was, and he kind of had a smirk on his face, and I think he was at a loss for words, and all he could say was, they're just really good. Can you talk about the Cardinals' team dynamic and what it's like in practice and how that transitions over to the races?
We tell our athletes from the beginning of the season, every race is the national championship, and every race that we have early in the season really contributes to the next practice, and we take something from that from every practice to the next race as we build the ingredients that we feel are going to be critically important to be at our very, very best again at the end of the year. So it's an evolutionary process, and the steps along the way, checkpoints along the way through significant workouts, significant meets, give us that kind of confidence. But again, we're a very, very senior dominated team that has had 4 years of this evolutionary process, and they've learned many, many lessons along the way, and they are really, I'd say, the most important factor in us getting to this point right now are these seniors on our team.
Right. Now, Sean, you are one of these seniors. You were the first North Central Cardinal to win the CCIW championship since current teammate Nate Hurd did it in 2006. You looked like you ran a very smart race. You weren't out in that lead pack early, but it seemed like down that final stretch you were in that lead pack and you were pressing really hard. Can you kind of just talk about how you managed your pace and how you ended up the champion?
Yeah, well, we had our teammate Michael Spain and Rutz up front by lap 2 of the 4 laps, and then me, Kyle, Brady, and Neil Klein just kind of moved up. There wasn't any question of whether we were going to run in the front with Spain and them. It's just when we decided to come up to them, and I mean those guys up front knew that we were going to come up to them too, so we just kind of knew that that's how it was going to finish.
Is that something that you think about during the race, or from the start, do you realize that maybe I'm going to start with a certain race strategy, and you kind of just attack it from that point on, or were you just I'm gonna excel and I'm gonna catch up to these guys?
Yeah, I think we didn't go in with any kind of race plan or anything like that. We just went in and ran our race, and we took our time to get up there, and we just knew at the end that's where we were going to be. It doesn't matter how you get there, just get there.
Right. Now the conditions, it was a little cool, very muddy. I mean, it had rained probably 3 or 4 days straight to that point, and the course had a different layout. It was hilly, it was up, it was down. There was a bridge there thrown in the middle of it. Were the course conditions a factor at all?
I think for a lot of other teams they were. We like it. The worse the conditions can get, the better for us, because the more strong your team is mentally and like the bond you have between each other, things won't get in your way. And when things are in other people's way, it gives them a reason to create excuses.
Cross country is a little different of a sport compared to, say, your other fall sports, football, volleyball. They're playing consistently at least once a week. You guys have a lot of time off between competitions. Relatively speaking to regionals that are coming up in about a week and a half, and then nationals less than 3 weeks away, what does the team do in this down period leading up to these big races?
We just try and, well, we're still going through our same routine of working out and stuff like that, but right now it's just helps us recharge and relax and get ready for those competitions. So we're the biggest thing that can affect you is stress, and we're just not putting stress on ourselves.
It's funny you mentioned that. It looked like the CCIW championships, you guys were very loose, a lot of laughing, a lot of kind of joking around. Nonetheless, when everybody towed the line, it was nothing but business. Is that something that might be symbolic with this team, just kind of having a good time but still maintaining a level of confidence that really helps the team to excel?
Yeah, I think that started a lot last year at probably about regionals is when we started really, we didn't have to be serious at any time until a minute before the race, and that's when we turned it on. Right. We always have it on, but we just create a relaxed atmosphere around us.
We'll be watching closely as regionals is not more than that week and a half away, and you guys, thanks for joining us and good luck.
Thank you.
Stay tuned, Cardinal fans, as Sports Information Director Clark Tuscher joins us next.